Hey everyone, just wanting to talk about healing and the dark side of healing. I've come across a group today that talks about fix, and there seem to be a lot of people. It seems like the people who started the group tried it, didn't have a positive experience, and have set up a group to discuss that, which is fascinating. And so you hear quite a few stories about people say, "Oh, I tried it. I was on it for 9 weeks. I was on it for 3 months, or whatever, and it did nothing for me, or I put weight on and stuff like that." Now, some of that might be this over focus on fat loss and on weight loss, and we've known this in diet coaching, carnivore coaching. We've said to people for years, please do not use the scales, because as you get better, as your body composition improves, you are likely to restore bone density, build muscle, and muscle's heavier than fat, even if you're burning subcutaneous fat or visceral fat. So I would say that to everyone, please, for goodness sake, don't rely on the scales. My favorite two measures are the tape measure and the mirror. Right? And clothing can also be very, very useful. But anyway, that's not what really we wanted to talk about today. I wanted to address the deeper issue of when we heal and when healing can hurt. And I know this from working with Phil Escott and Dr. Jeremy Ayres as well for a while, that there are several areas in which getting better doesn't necessarily feel good. I just wanted to talk about just a few of those today. One of those, for example, is like colds and flu, for example, right? Now, a lot of us believe that colds and flu are not diseases. They are not necessarily contracted off somebody else, but that they are detoxing symptoms, right? I can't prove that. There's evidence on both sides. We have people in families who all seem to get sick at the same time, and yet there's also very, very much a case that, if you've ever had this experience of you're looking ahead to a holiday and you're working your ass off to make sure everything's ready in time for your holiday, and then like the first day off that you get, your body goes boom, right, you're on your ass. Right? You get a cold out of nowhere. You get flu symptoms out of nowhere. So cold and flu symptoms are not just a kind of regular seasonal detox, but they can come up quite often when you are healing. And it doesn't mean that you're getting worse. It can mean that you're getting better, but there's other areas as well. Skin issues is another one. I've got someone who said, my psoriasis came back with a vengeance, and like eczema, for example, can be, the skin is the largest organ in the body, and it's therefore the largest detoxification organ in the body. We can get rid of toxins through the kidneys and liver and bowel and lungs, through the breath as well. But the skin is a great way for the body to get rid of toxins. And so short-term skin issues can also be a symptom of healing. You can get digestive issues when you get better, particularly if you're changing your diet. We've seen this loads. The people switching from a standard diet to carnivore or high-fat keto. Pain is a really interesting one. Itching as well. If you've ever had like a wound that's like significant wound that's scarring over and healing over, you can get itching, sometimes pain with that as well. And then there's a whole other aspect of it, which is emotional healing. As your body heals, right? You don't know the difference between what's brain cells and other types of cells. It's all healing, and Fix will address all of those. And we do find that when you start healing, you have to go through emotions, because it can be trapped emotions that have been part of the cause of symptoms that you've experienced. Right? Trapped emotions get you stuck into cycles. The Chinese have known this for ages, the lungs being the organ of grief, the liver being the organ associated with anger, for example. And so the the body and the mind, the emotions, spirit are all connected. Okay, so what does this all mean? What I think the important thing is to realize is that healing doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting better, doesn't necessarily going to mean you instantly feel better. I did. A lot of people, when they start taking fix, experience an immediate, instant release of some kind. And then there are others who would go on for weeks. But what you need to do is you need to be ready and committed to going through the healing. And the healing is going to happen in your own time, and it's not controlled by your brain. Right? Your body is miraculous. It knows what needs to heal and in what order. Now, Lynn was talking to Dr. Ben Bickman last weekend, who's a medical researcher, professor of medicine. I believe he's certainly taught thousands of students, and he's a practicing doctor as well. And he's been working with Fix with a lot of his patients and making careful notes. And Ben came out with a very interesting insight, which is that from his observations, there is a kind of a sequence that your body goes through when you're healing. And it starts with addressing inflammation first and foremost, right? Or the causes of inflammation, because inflammation is actually a perfectly natural and healthy response of your body. But that's what he's noticing. Inflammation is dealt with first, and then it's detox. Your body detoxes. Then he says cancer prevention, right? And then finally, the fourth step is the melting away of the visceral fat, that toxic fat that your body has stored, and stores it a lot more when you're in a high stress, high cortisol state. So I think that the key takeaway from all of this is, are you prepared to trust the process? Because if you've been watching a few of my videos, it's not just about nutrition. Nutrition is very important, make no mistake. And there are people who've fixed their nutrition and haven't fixed their issues. Why? Because it's not the only thing. I've broken it down really into three. This is my thinking right now about health, and I'm obviously evolving all the time, thankfully. And one of those is nutrition. The other one is giving your body the time to heal, and that's what Fix does, because it sets your body into the parasympathetic nervous state by triggering the T2R pain receptors in the gut that tell your body you may have been poisoned when you haven't, right? But the third aspect of all of that is actually faith. It's trust, it's belief that your body is designed to heal itself. Your body can heal itself, and your body will heal itself when it's given the nutrition and the time to do it. And you need all of those things together, because if you don't believe it, then you're not going to take the actions that will give you the chance to heal. You're going to talk yourself out of it. I'm talking to people every day who are putting so much effort into talking themselves out of giving their body a chance to heal. And what I need to do is I need to go, okay, for my own growth, it's this, be able to step away from that and go, okay, it's your choice. I'm not going to try and convince you against your will. You need to be ready. You need to be ready to step up and say, yes, I'm going to try this. But the other piece of advice I would add to that is, are you also prepared that it ain't necessarily going to feel comfortable getting better? How many years, decades have you spent getting yourself sick? And so do not insist that you're going to be able to fix all your issues overnight, because it may not happen. But trust the process, trust your design, trust your creator, whoever you think that is, and commit to the process. That's my advice. See you later.